A very good evening to you all and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV this Thursday, the 22nd day of September 2022. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. In our top stories tonight, 28 cleared for EALA polls, opposition threatens to boycott. 6 new Ebola cases confirmed in Mubende district. Minister Namuganza survives suspected assassination attempt. And in sports, in Kuba University, UCU shares spoils in Pepsi University Football League quarter-final. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcast House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Mogalu Mohammed and I am Rukidi Edward Kiijanangoma. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has fulfilled his promise of offering motorcycles to border riders operating at Kingdom Kampala stage along Nile Avenue to uplift their economic status. The motorcycles were handed over to them by the State House Comptroller, Jen Barechi, at Vama House in Lugogo.
It was joy among border riders operating at Kingdom Kampala border stage as they received 24 motorcycles promised to them by the Fountain of Honor. The tokens come after President Museveni made a stopover and they showed him their interest to acquire the cycles.
Simanyina kumanya nsimye nnyo ekikoze tugenda muwagira paka last muzeyi tukalakate sanyu lya amaanyi nnyo muzeyi okujja mu bwavu kuwa kino nga ne bazadde bo bennyini nyindi batama kutuuka kukikulwa.
The handover ceremony of the items was officiated by the State House Comptroller Jen Barechi amidst the riders praising President Museveni for his generosity.
Tumuka muzeyi tukwagala nnyo yavudde munaga abanaye ngenda bawa akasiimo abitukoledde ttaano omusajja abitukoledde
President Museveni munange yeebale nnyo tukoye piki za looni.
John Bareche conveyed the president's message, reminding them to put the bikes to good use and desist from drug abuse that would lead to accidents.
Olumirirwa omuntu wa wansi agenda atunula nze nazze okuleeta obutumwa bwammwe buubwo naye nazze n'okubeebaza mwebale nnyo okuwagira movement. Booda zizo tuzireese naye mbadde mbasaba banaye temuzitunda muzikozese.
Major Emma Kutesa cautioned youth to always embrace government programs for they are meant for their well-being.
Bana ba boda abali wano muzeeyi yangamba ngende balabe natuukayo bamugamba ebizibu bali balina nawulira okusaba kwabwe n'agamba buli mwana bamuweze boda kiraga obwagazi bwalina ku baana ba boda ku mirimu gye mukola obuwagizi omumuwa buli kimu kyonna kimukola muzeeyi akisiima.
The chairman Kingdom Stage Hussein Waso applauded President Museveni, asserting that the bikes would relieve them of the burden from loans.
Basanuka nnyo bwe twafuna stage eyo ne tugamba engeri gye tufunye stage eyo ate engeri gye tuli abawagizi ba muzeeyi katwetege bannange muzeeyi waffe ayita wano twasiibulanga muzeeyi ne tumusiibula naye olwava maama olwajja maama ono Janet Museveni yali naye mu konvoyi n'atutunuulira bw'ati n'alingiza bw'ati. Mbabuulire tulina bakyala baffe wano bangi naye baali batukyawa ng'ate ekitukyayisa kiri kimu looni. Alaba banno banyirira bambala bulungi bwentwala ssente wa mugagga ng'ate gwakola buli lunaku.
Maka Kakembo, the manager at Vama company, lamented that the motorcycles are in good condition to serve the good need.
Pichi nungi twakagiyita katale era pichi eno ya gia 5 enywa bulungi amafuta ate yo mwennyini erina ebintu bingi nnyo bibongeddemu okubeera nti wa boda agyettanira.
I'm Ivan Juko for UBC News.
A State Minister for Housing, Persis Namuganza, feels threatened, saying her life is in danger. Now, this follows what she confirms as an attempt on her life that she says was almost ended by suspected assassins in Bukoto, Kampala on Wednesday evening. Now, Muganza says this happened shortly after the Wednesday evening parliamentary sitting. She says Chira Road Police responded fast enough and investigations are currently ongoing. Muganza's outcry comes after a similar concern by the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, about 2 weeks ago.
Some people were on the bike, but one of them rode near my vehicle and used the unknown object, but a hard object, to smash the side where I was. Fortunately, I saw him raising his hand and I did like this. I was not hurt. The sound was so intense as we even almost rammed into other vehicles, but God's grace, we managed the situation. Investigations have started. This was around 7 after the house, but around that Bemuga house in Bukoto, where the street lights are, and the culprit managed to escape through the route of Kisas Road. But the Kila Road Police Station responded very fast, and I want to thank them for the quick response. And they are carrying on the investigations with other teams, which His Excellency has sent to review the footage and see. But according to the few video footages, they have allowed me to see this person followed us from town when we had just left the house. But we hope the police will do their work and other security organs to inform Ugandans who are those people who are after my life, but also as a responsible person, I found that it's prudent to inform the public and the people I lead and tell them that I think my life is useless. There have been some warnings, but I have always tried to manage. But what happened yesterday has really confirmed to me that my life is in danger, but the God who saved me yesterday will save me.
Now, a 20-member verification committee has cleared all the 28 aspirants for the East African Legislative Assembly. The candidates have been warned on littering Parliament premises ahead of election date on Thursday, the 29th of September 2022. Meanwhile, the opposition wing has remained undecided on their position in the election despite having some candidates in the exercise. Take a watch.
South Member of Parliament Mwine Mpaka, who was selected to steer the 20-member committee to verify aspirants for the East African Legislative Assembly, has presented his report to Parliament.
In this particular case, all persons that appeared before the committee had academic qualifications and none sought to use an affidavit or statutory declaration to validate academic documents.
Mpaka's report gives way to all the 28 aspirants to compete for the 9 available slots in the EALA Assembly. This follows the committee's failure to come across any objection to the contestants as they all had the requirements.
Lastly, the committee established that the aspirants came from different political parties and interest groups and from both the genders as indicated below.
The findings of the verification committee were adopted despite some MPs poking holes on the exercise.
One of the candidates submitted by the NRM, this Parliament did not approve him to be a minister on the ground of lack of academic qualification. One of the candidates of NRM.
All the candidates of NRM party, which you've referred to, are current members of EALA voted by this Parliament. Now, the same Parliament voted that member. And I was in the 10th Parliament. I never saw 10th Parliament, receiving that member's name.
The opposition wing held a closed-door meeting but failed to agree on a unanimous position in the upcoming elections, threatening to boycott the course.
And we have looked at these positions as being used to try and patronize the opposition. At the end of our long conversation, we did not declare any support for any candidates from the opposition, because our position to participation is still equivocal.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, is concerned of some candidates who have a tendency of littering the Parliament premises in disguise of campaigns. The elections are set for Thursday, 29th September 2022. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Rather sad news coming in from Lyantonde, where residents there in Lyantonde woke up to a sad morning after finding the body of their fellow resident dumped on the roadside in Lyantonde Town Council. The deceased was identified as Asimwe Ali, a resident of Kochi D Ward in Lyantonde Town Council.
Residents this Thursday woke up to shocking news following murder of a resident known as Asimwe Ali, a resident of Kochi D Ward in the town council. His body was found dumped along the road that connects Lyantonde Town Council and Lyantonde Sub-County. The father of the deceased explains that he got shocked when they told him that his son had been murdered. The Kochi DLC1 chairperson Ashraf Damulida explained that 3 motorcycles have been stolen from the area in the last few days. Lyantonde District Police Commander Birungi Scovia urged border riders to be alert.
Actually, tuyingira gwa 10 barudde nga bebase kati tuyingira mu season ya Christmas abamu balina abakazi 5-6 banoonya sente.
To Karamoja now, where government has come up with interventions that are aimed at supporting communities mostly affected by food insecurity. Among the short-term interventions is the planting of fast-growing crops. State Minister for Agriculture, Major retired Fred Wino Chakulaga, has flagged off 90 metric tons of fast-growing seeds to Karamoja sub-region.
Officially flag off the distribution of the seeds to the Karamoja region. Thank you very much.
Over time, Karamoja has been supported with food from donors and government due to prolonged drought in the region. Now government has come up with various interventions of ensuring that food insecure communities are supported with fast-growing seeds, and Karamoja has benefited from this arrangement. The region has been supported with 90 metric tons of green gram seeds, cowpeas and tetere seeds.
Providing 30 metric tons of green gram seed, 30 metric tons of cowpeas, and 30 metric tons of tetere beans.
The Minister for Karamoja Affairs, Dr. Mary Goretti Kitutu, attributes the food scarcity in Karamoja to the insecurity in the region. She applauds the UPDF for maintaining peace in the region.
Now the reports from Karamoja indicate that the place is now calm. People are now able to sleep, unlike in the past where people who had picked guns on their own and were in the bushes terrorizing the communities in Karamoja. And actually this was the driver to the escalating hunger.
The Executive Director NADS, Dr. Samuel Mogasi, says there is need to build resilience to food insecurity regions other than just giving them ready food.
Because the food that is given is eaten and is quickly finished. So in order to build resilience, a decision has been taken to give the most vulnerable homesteads to be given seed of the quick maturing crops.
Area leaders have thanked government, together with the Ministry of Agriculture, for supporting Karamoja region. They further appealed for more support in other sectors.
Really, I urge the people of Uganda, let us pray for Karamoja.
because it's like bad things are coming from my region. Insecurity is there, the war, the food shortage.
But I also want to appreciate that much as they are limping because of the budget, but they have been able to scratch their backs and provide this for our people.
The contractors of this project assured the consumers that the seeds provided are highly nutritious and fast maturing.
I was born in 1986 against tyranny. The whole country is pacified. We are currently being focused into another war of food security and wealth creation.
Much as we are responding to Karamoja, I want that it is spreading to other regions. So the level of investment to food production should be increased, looking at Karamoja and beyond.
Mary Namkose, UBC News.
Now, 6 new cases of Ebola have been confirmed in Mubende district, bringing the cumulative number to 7 since the 19th of this month when the first case was announced. 16 suspected contacts are currently in isolation center and 4 are in critical condition.
Following the confirmation of one index case of Ebola on the 19th this month in Mubende district, 6 new cases have been confirmed, bringing the total number of confirmed Ebola cases to 7. According to Mubende RDC Rosemel Biabasheja, who is also the chairperson, District Ebola Task Force, 16 people are currently under isolation.
By the time it was noon, we had not got any new patient, but we have 16 patients admitted. 4 of them are seriously sick. The 12 are improving and responding to medication, and I think that's a great achievement. I want to thank God, but also in a special way to thank our health workers who have really put in a lot of effort. And I wanted also to inform the public that we have a campsite that has been put in place in Madudu, and we have our surveillance team there. We have our other implementing partners.
Ebola is a viral acute disease that is transmitted through getting in close contact with blood of an infected person, secretions, organs and other bodily fluids of infected animals like chimpanzees, monkeys, gorillas and bats. Human-to-human transmission via direct contact through broken skin or mucous membranes with blood or body fluids of an infected person. Touching objects that have been contaminated with body fluids like blood, feces and vomit from a person infected with Ebola virus or body of a person who died from Ebola. Ebola presents with the following symptoms: sudden onset of fever, fatigue, chest pain, diarrhea, vomiting, yellowing of the eyes, and unexplained bleeding that is usually the last to manifest. The gestation period is 21 days and a person can be infectious even before showing the symptoms. Ebola can be prevented by avoiding getting into contact with any infected person and animals and regularly washing hands with water mixed with jik as sanitizers do not kill the Ebola virus. For any suspected cases, the public is advised to call the Ministry of Health on the toll-free number 0800 100 066. Catherine Nambi and Adia Nakuti for UBC.
Aid access to health facilities is believed to be one of the contributors to the high infant mortality and perinatal deaths in Oyam district. Sidonia Akelo, the Assistant District Health Officer, Oyam, says lack of transport coupled with bad roads has resulted in poor outcomes in response to emergencies. Besides the long distances, she says the district has only 1 ambulance serving a population of 460,000 people. We have this report.
High infant mortality and perinatal death is believed to be resulting from delayed access to health facilities. According to the Assistant DHO Sidonia Kelo, the 2 ambulances the district had were donated by an NGO with restrictions leaving out the majority of the population.
If a pregnant mother who is showing danger sign reach the facility late, she may end up losing that baby, or even we may even lose the mother. In the recent past, we had a very high number of infant mortality and perinatal death.
Lilia Joke, a resident of Uyam Town Council, recalls how her daughter-in-law lost a baby in her watch. She says in March last year, her daughter delivered from home and lost the baby after failing to get transport to access the medical facility. Agnes Iguela, another mother, says she has been delivering from home due to the long distances to the facility. She says it is difficult to get a means when labor strikes at night. She shares the bicycle experience. Agnes and Lily, however, are among this flock who came to welcome the 2 ambulances donated by their woman MP Santa Alum.
So the ambulance services, as far as referrals are concerned, was really wanting. So this as a reason out of the demand from the community.
Halum says Uyam district has a population of over 460,000, the highest in the region, but lacks a district hospital.
There are sub-counties with over 60,000 people, parishes with very many people, but they're receiving the same amount of money. And I really want to appeal to the government that when the time comes, Uyam really must be divided into 2.
They are now advocating for the creation of a Bayer district from Uyam to improve service delivery. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Thanks, Eddie Olwa, for that report there. Now, National Social Security Fund, NSSF, has unveiled affordable housing project at Temangalo, 17 kilometers east of Kampala, to accommodate different income classes to cope with the increased demand for affordable housing in Uganda. It will comprise 3,500 houses of various types, retail and commercial spaces, and community amenities, among others.
National Social Security Fund is investing in renters to enable Ugandans own their own houses with a payment of 10% and clear the balance in 10 to 15 years.
So if you've got money with NSSF, if you're saving with NSSF, we can verify that you have the money you've been saving, and therefore we can allow you to rent, but then eventually own.
It's against this background that NSSF is calling upon Ugandans to check out this interesting innovation and get a chance to own a home in Uganda.
When you put your money with us, it works for you, and that's why every year you get interest. So underlying the choices and the balance that has been made in terms of delivering that it is a house is you actually at the center of it.
The project supports the idea of Buy Uganda, Build Uganda and targets at employing over 700 Ugandans.
We are trying to work with them together, so that we can start negotiation or coordination with them in advance before we start purchasing, so that we can arrange the material on timely for the construction to move ahead stably.
The housing project is expected to cost 104 billion shillings and will be ready by June 2024 and generate 18% returns to the fund.
The cheapest house here will be 90 million shillings. That is reasonable. It is affordable. Okay, if you do your maths, the lower income people will be able to afford it, of course, taking a mortgage. And you remember I told you that the best thing that we can do for our country is to activate the mortgage market.
The houses are in a range of 90 million shillings to 600 million shillings, depending on the client's choice. The project consists of 5,500 units, and so far 3,500 of them are ready. Shaidat Nasaku, Juma Nsamba, UBC News.
Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Be alert. Do not share your Airtel Money PIN number with anyone. Airtel Uganda employees will never ask for your Airtel Money PIN number on call, SMS, or by email. All SIM card registrations, SIM card verifications, or SIM swaps are done at clearly branded Airtel shops and not on phone. To report any fraudulent activity, please call 100 immediately. The official calling number for Airtel promotions is 0200 100 100. Stay alert on Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Yo! Airtel is giving you bigger data bundles for the same price. Dial star 175 hash to choose from our range of bigger Chillax bundles that don't expire and stay connected longer to loved ones. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Our wetlands are being lost at a very alarming rate. Wetlands have become the most threatened ecosystem 3 times faster than the forest. With 35% loss globally since 1970, a quarter of wetland-dependent species are near extinction. This is a very serious loss to our economy and natural resource-based country. The government of Uganda is determined to reverse this trend. Therefore, my ministry calls upon fellow Ugandans to contribute to the conservation and sustainable use of the limited resources. Ugandans, stop cultivating, putting up buildings, and dumping in the wetlands.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Water and Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, Uganda National Meteorological Authority, with support from Government of Uganda, Green Climate Fund, and the United Nations Development Programme.
It's back! After 2 years away, the Uganda International Trade Fair is back! The Uganda Manufacturers Association excitedly invites you to the 28th Uganda International Trade Fair from October 3rd to October 10th. Visit more than 1,000 manufacturers, traders, distributors, and business people from all sectors at the UMA Showgrounds in Lugogo. We are back to innovation, products, and world-class manufacturing excellence. Entrance fee is 10,000 shillings only. Select manufacturers will offer discounted prices of up to 50%. Enjoy live performances from your favorite artists as we celebrate 60 years of Uganda's independence. To book space, call 0703 552 444.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. A warm welcome to those of you just joining us. On sign language, it is Mogalu Mohammed, and I am Rukidi Edward Kiijanangoma. Now, Uganda is set to host the 5th International Evidence to Action Conference. It targets to enlighten academicians, policy makers, and government officials on the importance of implementing research findings to shape policy formulation. The conference is to be hosted by Makerere University, Kampala, and will attract participants from all walks of life from Uganda, East Africa, and beyond.
Been championing and facilitating research in a variety of disciplines with the aim of promoting development and improvement of livelihoods since inception. However, it is alleged that implementation of research evidence occurs rarely unless there are concerted attempts to direct search.
If you and I go to Gulu or Masenda or anything and we talk to any household, almost every month somebody is at their desk, their doorsteps collecting data, asking them their name, number of chickens they have, hectares of land, maize that they have grown, goats that are running around their backyard. And you ask yourself, all these data that are being collected every day, how are we using them?
The International Center for Evaluation and Development has been pushing for implementation of global research to boost policy formulation.
The Evidence to Action Conference is a means to bring all the stakeholders in the evidence value chain together who are involved in evidence conceptualization, evidence implementation, evidence extraction, and evidence utilization together to dialogue on the most effective and efficient way where people's life and livelihood can be changed by the evidence that are being generated by researchers and evaluators in this country.
The Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, is expected to be the chief guest.
We have different themes and discussions that are happening, and even more exciting that this is happening in the midst of celebrating 100 years of Makerere University. And coming out of COVID, we've learned many things, and one of them is that we need research to make decisions. And so Evidence to Action presents this opportunity for us to question Makerere University that 100 years of evidence coming out of the university, what has it done in the field? What has it done for our nation? What has it done for our countries and our communities?
Makerere University's Professor Damalina Kanjako justifies the importance of attending the conference, especially for academicians, civil society organizations, and politicians.
This Evidence to Action conference is going to give us a lot of knowledge and its translation into action not only for Ebola, but all the infectious diseases and the epidemics that have come around. Ebola has been with us for over 10 years, and a lot of research and evidence has been generated from Uganda. That is why today when we hear a case of Ebola, it is no longer a death sentence like it happened 20 years ago.
Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Small and medium enterprise operators have been tasked to mainstream business development services provision for business survival growth. This was during the launch of the National Business Development Services Framework here in Kampala.
For a long time, micro, small and medium enterprises have faced challenges, which are symptoms yet the actual disease is lack of business development services. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Ramadan Gobi, asked business operators to streamline and mainstream business development services provision for business survival growth and competitive in order to make more money.
Increase the survival of businesses. I don't want you to come and you tell me, you see, we have held so many countrywide workshops. I would want you to report in the form of, this is now, we have moved the business survival from 40% to 50% this year.
Gobi says BDS is going to emphasize government's already existing strategies to improve on the small and medium enterprises, as well as solving the already existing symptoms.
From today, going forward, government programs, projects, as well as new interventions, especially those which are going to target livelihood improvement, are going to be required to mainstream BDS in their planning and budgeting as part of the assessment criteria for their approval.
So this is about building entrepreneurs with appropriate mindset for each stage of enterprise development. It will also now make consumers of business development services to know where to go, because there are different ranges of needs of different SMEs at any one time. But now you need to know, whom do I go to? Whom do I ask? There will be a center of excellence.
Meanwhile, Gobi highlighted on the PDM funds, emphasizing that the money shall go direct to the circles without middlemen.
This money is going to go from the treasury. When my officers click the button at the treasury there, the money is going to fly direct into the account of the SACCO. No middleman of money.
Have a lot of subsidies, and at a much lower level, the subsidies will be as high as 95%. But then they begin to decrease as you begin to appreciate the power of BDS and your own ability to put money into BDS.
The launch was under the theme, Strengthening Management Capabilities of MSME through BDS. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Now, the increasing fraudulent land transfers of titles and certificate cases in Ulwero district have worried political leaders and police, among other stakeholders in the area, despite the fact that there is a government land law in place. Take a watch.
The officer in charge is Robert County Council Police Station. Alitia Amos advised communities to work with the police to fight the increasing practices of land grabbing using fraudulent land titles.
It is a surprise I'm hearing this happen in Kisula. I have very many places where land wrangles are doing it there. In this scenario, I will be compelled to open GF. Summon these parties to documents. Right to register to avail me different documents.
This follows a fraudulent transfer certificate of private Milo land comprised on Block 57, Plot 114 at Bachimuchisula in Zirowe Town Council of Haj Amis Chirumba Mukasa, who petitioned the Department of Land Matters at State House to intervene. Haji Chirumba Mukasa is complaining about Ismail Tamusiza, Nakayenga Hadija, Mutebisi Raji, and Mubiru Sulaiman for involving themselves in the fraudulent transfer of certificates of his private Milo land. The Assistant Private Secretary, Land Matters, Ocheng Edward Sande, intervened in the fraudulent transfer. This was at a meeting organized by the Department of Land Matters of State House, held at Bachimuchsula in Zrowe, that started with the training of communities on the land law. The three accused were not in the meeting, only Nakayenga Hadija, who was interrogated.
naye kituufu nti ekyapa kiri mu linnya gwe administrator erinnya lyeko eri mu kyapa ekyo
bwe kibeera nga kyakyusibwa nga ekyapa kyaliwo ngaze administrator era kiyinza kyali nti
tokiraba nga kyapa ekyo
kyaliwo bwe kiba nga bwekiri nga kyakyusibwa mu mannya nga bakyakyusibwa okuva mu mannya g'omugenzi olw'okuba tuli ba administrators kiyinza okuba ng'era kyaliwo 1956 kati bw'obanga oyogera ku byabulayi mu bya 1956 ate otugamba 756 kyekijja okubuzaabuza abantu nti bino bwe lwatabaawo bino biva mu registry.
Later, the Assistant Private Secretary of Land Matters at State House, Ocheng Edward Sande, directed the Registrar of Titles, Bukasa Land Office in Luwero District, to stop any further transactions on this Milo land until investigations by police are over.
And when he gives me, I'm going to ask him to invoke section 91 of the RTA. Which says he has the authority to cancel that title you erroneously or fraudulently obtained.
Ocheng also cautioned the general public across the country against involving in practices of fraudulent land transfers because it's criminal, advising that they should continue complying with the land laws to overcome problems of land wrangles.
In our last episode to the creation of political parties in Uganda, we look at a year to independence between 1961 to 1962. What exactly happened? Take a watch.
A year to independence between 1961 to 1962. This was the year of achieving what all political parties were for, and this was capturing political power.
I think what caused the major problem then was having political parties that had no serious ideology. Their focus was on attaining independence. So once the independence was attained, all hell broke loose.
This, at least, was to happen through constitutional means, and the route to that was through elections. Elections had to be won, but to win that election, you must have had majority of votes. This compromise, alliances, and some other craftiness.
The Lancaster Conference and the issues at hand were clearly laid down. Strategic interests for different entities. And the alliances were crafted based on those specific strategic interests. So one party was willing to meet them and compromise, another wasn't.
At this time, Buganda, and particularly the Mengo establishment, miscalculated by boycotting the 1961 elections to the Legislative Council. They even intimidated those who participated in it.
In 61, that was the arrangement, that KY had strategic interests. UPC had strategic interests, so they met halfway. The biggest problem was with Obote, who was not interested in enforcing the agreement, the alliance agreement. For him, his interest was in capturing power. Once he got power, then he disregarded whatever was agreed upon.
This notwithstanding, it gave birth to the Democratic Party with a majority vote, and they formed a government led by Benedicto Kiwanuka as a chief minister.
Democratic Party had, as a single party, had more members of parliament than any political party. So in any case, Ben Kiijanangoma had more latitude to form government, but he chose not to.
However, it's important to note that these were elections conducted under the laws that Ugandans never participated in, to purge the Catholic protracted move to capture political power in the independent Uganda that was soon a movement by the Baganda leadership for purposes of defeating the Democratic Party. The Kabaka Yeka was shortly announced after the Constitutional Conference as a vehicle by which they were going to contest the Lukiko elections. This was a strange organization. It never had a manifesto because it hinged on Kabaka alone, Kabaka Yeka. According to this organization, whoever was not part of the Kabaka was deemed to be living a treasonable existence.
The fact of the matter is, Musaz, despite having benefited from Western education, he hated the Western system with a passion. Because he critiqued their systems right from the theological college where he was. So when he returned here, it was their mission to frustrate him.
They pushed all sorts of disinformation, such as that Kiijanangoma was an anti-monarchism and threatening to overthrow the monarch and establish a republic. Between religion and tribes, the Mengo establishment opted for one of the evils, namely to shed the tribal lines and minimize the gains of the Catholic tribesmen representing a political opponent, the Democratic Party, to a Protestant Uganda People's Congress, though from without Buganda.
The same thing with Benedicto Kiijanangoma, was very uncompromising in terms of his principles. In fact, even where he came from in central Uganda, was never appreciated at the time. Ugandans never appreciated him at the time because he was a man of principles. He would not compromise on the values that he so much cherished.
Consequently, Kabaka Yeka in 1962 sent in 21 elected members, sent in by Lukiko, added to the 37 directly elected members of the Uganda People's Congress, which brought Uganda People's Congress to power, and Milton Obote as a leader to form government that led Uganda to independence.
Then he put his points on paper, and he said we need to reach an amicable solution. We need to reach an agreement. So Obote said, for me, I'm taking everything you're proposing. But in his heart of hearts, he knew that that was not the case.
This kind of politics evacuated into the Kabaka crisis of 1966.
But I do not know why you should ask me that question now. But the most interesting thing is that the pressmen seem to think that the Kabaka has done nothing wrong. That it's only the government that has done wrong things.
And Obote's dictatorial suspension of the 1962 Constitution and declaring himself an executive president, and his 1969 move to the left, the Common Man's Charter, which was a replica of Tanzania's Arusha Declaration of 1967, which violated the right to property.
That Obote and UBC was not interested in that constitution. His interest was in acquiring power. So if I were in his shoes and I was interested in having a stable and prosperous Uganda, I would rather have postponed Uganda getting independence in 62 until we reach an agreeable position, not just to append my signature on a document just because I want to become head of state.
However, the contradiction that ensued from these religion tribal-based party politics created conditions for a man like Idi Amin to emerge and overthrow Obote in 1971.
That when Obote sent Idi Amin to storm the palace in Mengo in 1966, he didn't know that he was teaching Idi Amin that politics and constitution are political expedients that can be gotten rid of to suit the president of the day. As day follows night, Amin used the very same script to overthrow Obote.
Amin inherited the same fundamental problems that Obote had confronted. To create popular support, Amin, the northerner, had to appease the southerners, and more especially the Baganda, who were at the core. He arranged that Mutesa's body be returned and be buried near his poor bearers. Timothy Spasi, UBC.
Thanks, Timothy, for that. And of course, that was our third and final episode to the creation of political parties in Uganda. And of course, as we continue to get more in as far as celebrations to our coming independence. We'll now be taking a short break and return with Business.
October Bidel Musaba Gardens Mukono, October Mukaga Millennium Gardens Saziwaya, October Munanaji Montelembara, 10 October, 40 Poto Muchisawe, Abidim Bi October, Bale Sports Center, Umtual Kumo, Yebem Tuale Santo, a meza million more, Wabla Tual Kumo, Amanda Gula tickets of Akosa M10 Momo, Banjagusa Sulan Comitano, Binamina Romo Center, Hiva Motors, Galaxy FM, Radio 4, Kagwina War, TN.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Multi Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Stay connected on the largest 4G network in Uganda using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi at only 75,000 Uganda shillings. It comes with 15 GBs free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 of your friends and family at a go. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today or call 0800 333 330 for free delivery within Kampala. Dial *175 *9# to activate free 15 GBs. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's better to foster respect instead of fear and pain.
Cause a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Cooking with electricity is now affordable. Cook your beans. Avoid smoke.
Sayaka. Cooking with electricity is now so affordable with the Fumba tariff set by the Electricity Regulatory Authority. With the Fumba tariff, you can now buy up to 70 units of Yaka at a reduced price of 412 Uganda shillings per unit after consuming your first 80 units of the month. For more information, contact the Electricity Regulatory Authority on 0200 506 000.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and ahs.
Forget every moment that stole the show, because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed, and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions, plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
Welcome back from that break. Let's have a look now at the latest in business. East African member states have been urged to support and empower local businesses to avoid economic shocks. The Executive Director, East African Business Council, John Bosco Kalisa, says local investment can be supported through increasing access to finances. This was during a 3-day conference in Kampala aimed at creating awareness among women and youth entrepreneurs so as to benefit from the newly introduced Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Philip Aguta reports.
The women and youth entrepreneurs from East African countries have convened at Hotel Africana in Kampala to utilize the opportunities that exist in the African Continental Free Trade Area. Although the African Continental Free Trade Area aims at increasing intra-trade among African member states, the conference has decried unfavorable policies, poor infrastructure, with some states instead involving themselves in trade wars.
And this is what we've been saying. It is a paradox in the sense that why should we be importing wheat when we have 60% of our land is arable land? It's a paradox. We need to change that narrative. We need to have a paradigm shift in terms of feeding ourselves. We shouldn't be talking East Africa and being food insecure. We should be a food surplus. We should be selling food to the world.
The Executive Director, East African Business Council, John Bosco Kalisa, says if the East African member states are to benefit from the free trade area, member states need to harmonize standards, remove tariffs, and simplify trade regimes.
But we are not doing that because of policy constraints, because of legal and regulatory constraints, because of access to finance, because of access to infrastructure that are necessary for our producers, farmers, smallholder farmers, to move their goods from their farm to the markets. They are constrained by a number of trade policies, issues of warehouses. We don't have facilities.
Speaking during the 3-day conference in Kampala, women entrepreneurs identified challenges like inadequate access to financial support as the main obstacle to their involvement in business.
If there is an enabling environment that is created to provide those opportunities to unlock their potential in that area, they would be able to understand what opportunities exist and then have the capacity to grow their businesses to utilize those opportunities. So lack of access to finances is one of the major areas that continues to undermine the capacity of women and young people to access these opportunities. So the trade facilitation also is another huge impediment and a barrier.
The meet, organized by the International Trade Center, UN Women, UNDP, and East African Business Council, aimed at making the entrepreneurs to understand the African Continental Free Trade Area opportunities.
And therefore we have brought in a group of women here. We believe that the trade agenda would benefit a lot from women's participation, women's empowerment and youth empowerment. And the EFTA promotes a protocol for women and youth. And therefore women are here from all over East Africa to have a conversation amongst themselves and to ensure that they can share information, they can share knowledge, they can network amongst themselves.
Philip Aguta, UBC News in Kampala.
We'll now be going for a short break and we return with the latest in sports. Before we go to sports, we have this story from Kisoro district, and leaders in Kisoro district are very excited upon hearing that government is set to establish an industrial park in their area. Now, this attributes how the district and Kigezi sub-region will realize visible and practical development. Now, their comments come ahead of the Kigezi Investment Summit organized by Uganda Investment Authority in Kisoro district this Saturday.
District is strategically positioned to boost regional development, and considering the area for an industrial park is a worthy move. The Kisoro District Chairperson Abe Bizimana, who was speaking ahead of the Kigezi Investment Summit, organized by the Uganda Investment Authority in Kisoro District, slated for this Saturday.
Why is it coming to Kisoro? Because there is a deal, a public deal, a regional deal, that we want industry, and therefore we want to employ people. We want to get things that are homemade by Uganda and use Uganda.
The former State Minister for Regional Affairs and a veteran politician, Dr. Philemon Mateke, says industrializing Kisoro is vital for East Africa's development.
As a keen observer of what had really happened, and what people wanted, they thought we were going to get rich.
Mateke, however, calls on forces from the region to ensure peace in the area if the industrialization agenda is to yield positive fruits.
If it is not genuine, if we are not committed to the development of our country, then that development will be meaningless. The independence will be meaningless.
It's over a year since Kibaya land in Bunagana and Rukundo town councils was officially given to Uganda Investment Authority by Kisoro District Council for the development of an industrial park.
Organize yourselves into a very serious investment conglomeration of business people. They have done it.
The Kigezi Business Summit that will be taking place in the area is aimed at attracting relevant investment projects in the area, both local and foreign. Shaidat Nasakum, UBC News.
Sports news now, and with the curtain on the verge of coming down on the 2022 Federation of East Africa Secondary Schools Sports Association Games, Ugandan teams continue shining. The games that started on Friday last week have witnessed a penultimate day action ahead of closing and awards tomorrow at the Sheikh Abid Stadium in Arusha City, Tanzania.
St. Mary's Kitende has retained the Federation of East Africa Secondary Schools Sports Association Games netball title after beating rivals St. Noah 35-32 in the final at the Sheikh Abed Stadium in Arusha, Tanzania.
The game wasn't easy. We started the game with a low pace, and the St. Noah led the game at the start of the first quarter, but we came back, fought hard. We fought hard. St. Noah is not he's a team, but we managed to come over it, and at the end of the four quarters, we are the champions and we are leading the game.
Kitende also won the inaugural 3x3 girls basketball accolade after beating Budo SS 13-12 and has reached the finals of the conventional 5x5 basketball. Kakungulu Memorial won double hockey accolades after seeing off Kenya's Trans Nzoia 2-1 to retain the girls' title, with the boys edging Arusha Meru International School.
Mulundi ogwokubiri tusanyuse nnyo kubanga tukiwangudde kubanga tubadde tukisuubira nga tumanyi tuli bawanguzi.
Uganda's gold medal winners are Namiryango College in 15s rugby, Hana International in 7s rugby, Kakungulu Memorial in hockey boys and girls, Kitende in netball and basketball 3x3 girls, Kibuli in badminton and swimming. Uganda's gold medal tally by close of today was at 8, with rivals Kenya having 3, a collection that sees Uganda in the driving seat to retain the overall title. Uganda stands another chance of winning gold on the final day with teams in various finals including football, boys basketball and girls football. John Barnes, Center.
Now, defending champions Uganda Christian University have been held to a goalless draw by Nkumba University in the first leg of their Pepsi University Football League quarter-final tie played in Entebbe. None of the two sides could break the deadlock on the day, and the chances were few and far between. The result means that there is all to play for when UCU hosts Nkumba in Mukono in a fortnight. Chambogo University versus Makerere University Business School is the only remaining fixture in the first leg of this year's quarterfinals, and the two neighbors tussle it out next week on Tuesday, the 29th of September 2022 at Chambogo.
We take the same game in Mukono. We are not going to sit back because you cannot advance when you don't score. We just want to correct those mistakes of missing those chances, reorganize the defense. You saw that they also had chances, UCU. How do we close those gaps, and probably how do we convert goals? Those mistakes that we did, especially in the third half, were not so good. We should have won the game. Unfortunately, luck was on their side, and this is where we are. Game is still open. We take the same game to UCU.
It's not bad to lose 2 points away. At least I've taken a point away from home. The game was okay. Just that we failed to utilize our chances. We had 3 chances that were sure, but we are not lucky enough to convert them.
St. Peter's College Tororo Old Boys Association will this weekend host its second sports gala at Lyantonde Primary School. It is expected to gather more than 200 players, with organizers intent on achieving several successes.
Upon all the boys that on 24th action is on.
And we came up with an idea of the league, a football league where we have young men and old with great experience in football. This is a league we're holding for the second time. The first time we were at Lyantonde Primary School. The second we played against Navumali Old Boys and Girls in Nalia. This time around on this Saturday, on 24th September, we will again be in Lyantonde, and all the boys have been rallied to come and join. And we have 16 teams already on the cards, and we'll be having well-organized and technical people.
Thank you very much to the old boys who have been contributing. Continue supporting the cause. It's a good cause. And remember, your sports looks after your health looks after your wealth. So I look forward to seeing all of you there on that day. Please do come in numbers, and continue supporting. Any surplus funds will go towards the school. We have a dining project that we are working on, so please continue supporting the league. Thank you.
That story brings us to the end of this first edition of News Tonight here on UBC TV. Thank you so much for having kept us company, but remember that our second and final edition comes your way at 10 p.m. on sign language. It has been Mugalu Mohammed, and I am Rukidi Edward Kiijanangoma. I'll see you at 10.